All right, so we're going to talk about fear of change today. So, hi, Rachel. Thank you for letting me know you can hear me. Um, I am Juliet Fortino, and I am a mental health clinician, but I'm also a client of Liz and Becca's, or actually Liz. I work solely with Liz. A little bit of background about me. I have been working with Liz for about 2 years now. Actually, 1 year. Sorry, it's a little over a year now. I have gone through the gamut with Liz, and I still continue to go through the gamut with Liz. My body likes to fight against me, and so we are working hard. But in the course of this, my work with Liz, I've really come to find a passion on understanding the mental health aspects of weight loss and the mental health aspects, the mindset aspects of weight loss, and really exploring how our mindset gets in our way. And I can speak totally from experience about this. I have spent countless hours working on my mindset, working on the pieces that really got in my way of being successful at weight loss, being successful on my health journey, because for me, it's about health. And so I have started studying nutrition and getting nutrition certifications, and really working through my interest and passion in helping other women figure out what their goals are and figure out how to get the mental aspect of things, so that their weight loss, their goals, whatever those goals might be, to be successful for the long term and not the short term, getting off that yo-yo dieting and being successful. Which dives us into the fear of change. I think this particular topic came about because I think so many of us on this journey to find health or weight loss, whatever that is, get so focused on the goal that we don't think about that mindset piece. We don't think about the issues that get in our way, I guess. And so after some discussions with Liz, I really started looking at this fear piece. And did you guys know that there's actually a word for fear of change? And I'm going to totally butcher it, but it's metathesiophobia. Meta being change and phobia being fear, and it's fear of change. And there are so many reasons why we as women get stuck in this fear of change. And I'm going to speak for us as women as a whole. We work so hard to be in control of our lives. We have to juggle our jobs and our kids and our families and our husbands and our extracurriculars and our friendships. And we have all these things that we have to juggle. And so control is really, really important for us. And so when we start a weight loss journey or a journey into health, we don't necessarily have that same amount of control. We work to control our food and we work to control the restrictions, but there's so much unknown that comes with weight loss, that with this journey, that we start to feel out of control. And when we feel out of control, we fall back into our comfort zone. We fall back into the things that we know. We fall back into the things that we trust, which is all of the bad habits that got us to being overweight, to being unhealthy, to not having the energy to do the things that we know are the good things for us to do. So I'm curious what some of your things that you try to control are, some of the things that you guys work on, that you juggle, that you try to control outside of diet, outside of nutrition. What are some of those things that you guys really work at struggling to control or work at control? I'll give it a few minutes because I know there's a lag for you guys to type some comments in there. I can tell you my control. I wear a lot of hats in my job. So I'm not only a mental health clinician, but now I'm exploring this nutrition piece, and I'm working on becoming a personal trainer at my gym. And so I have a lot of balls in the air. And so my control is being good at all of those things. And when I'm not good at all of those things, I feel out of control. I feel chaotic. I feel stressed. And what do we do when we stress? We go back to those comfort places. Work and family stuff, friendships, absolutely, Deb. Christine, things at work, I can't control everything that happens, and it makes me extremely anxious. And Christine, you just dove right into the symptoms of the fear of change. There is actually symptoms that come with this, and one of those things is anxiety. We talk a lot about anxiety, depression. Those are natural things that we as women feel, but when we add in the fear of change and this I'm going to look at my word here, metathesiophobia, it's a big word. We get increased anxiety, we get increased depression, we get GI issues, we get GI distress, our tummies are upset, we get dry mouth, we get heart palpitations. Are any of this ringing a bell for you when you're feeling super out of control? These are some of those symptoms that kind of come with that loss of sleep. Andrea, being a perfectionist, absolutely. Girl, speaking my language, I am a perfectionist like nobody's business. And if I don't do it well, it bothers the heck out of me. And then I start to feel that out of control feeling. Sarah, fear that gaining control of one area makes you lose another control of another. Absolutely. Again, juggling all those balls. Work. Jennifer, Deb, volunteer organization is causing lots of stress, but I can't give it up for the people who do appreciate the leadership. Christine, definitely feel those things. Yeah, the anxiety, the depression, the GI distress, sleep, those are all going to be things that when we are feeling fear and out of control in our lives, these are the things that get disrupted. So I'm just curious how you guys think the fear of change impacts our weight loss, impacts our health journey. When we start to lose weight, when we start this journey with Liz, with Becca, whoever your coach is, Jen, Courtney, we're gung-ho, right? Like we're so motivated and we feel so good. But now comes the control, right? Like, okay, let's work on adjusting your macros. Let's work on increasing your exercise. Let's work on just going for walks or increasing your water. No matter what your changes are, you're making changes. And those things they might be great at the onset, but they're scary in the long run because they're new, they're different. And so sometimes it's not just as simple as changing these little habits, it's changing the mindset that goes with these habits. So you can say, great, I'll drink 64 ounces of water a day this week, and that's going to be my goal. And those are great goals. But how do you sustain that goal? If you're just doing it because somebody said you're supposed to, because somebody said it's healthy for you, how do you believe that to be true? How do you buy into this belief that if I do all of these things, I'm going to lose weight and have it stick? Because the minute those stressors come into play, some of you all talking about that juggling those balls and fear of the things at work that you can't control. When those stressors come into play and you're working hard to control the things that are over here, what do you think gives? The things that are over here, those nutritional pieces that you think it's so easy to just slide right back into that comfort zone because this is feeling out of control, right? So if losing weight was as simple as changing your eating habits, we wouldn't have obesity in this world. We would all be able to sustain for the rest of our lives the weight that we've lost, the weight that we've lost and gained and lost and gained. I don't know about you, but my yo-yo dieting history is pretty significant. And so I was just mentioning to Liz not too long ago, this is the longest I've ever gone at the lowest weight I've ever been. And I truly do understand that so much of that has been about my mindset and the work that I've had to put in to changing the way I think about things and trying to let go of that fear. Some of that is identity work. Being overweight is an identity. I've been overweight since I hit puberty, probably since I was a little girl. I remember pictures of myself at 5, 6 years old in a bikini, and I got a little booty belly. And it's cute when you're 5 or 6, but it's not so cute when you're 12 or 13 and hitting puberty. And so for as long as I can remember, I have been overweight. I'm still overweight. I'm still in my process. I'm still in my journey, but it becomes an identity. And so when you know nothing other than being fat, the idea of not being overweight anymore is scary. Many of us use our weight as an excuse, right? I can't do that because I'm overweight. I can't go on that bike ride because the bike won't hold me up. I can't participate in that active activity out there in life because I'm too overweight to do that. I remember thinking on a vacation, I wanted to go on a horseback ride. This was many years ago. And I was afraid I wasn't going to hit the weight limit, that I was going to be over the weight limit to ride a horse. And so we didn't go on that horseback ride because I was afraid I was too fat to go on the horseback ride. So there's this identity piece that comes with being overweight. And when we start the process of finding our health, we have to look at that identity. We have to look at who we are is not what our outer look looks like. It's not being overweight. It's the internal piece. So if you're wanting to lose weight, you really need to take a look at how do you identify your weight loss? How do you identify your body? How do you identify your body in this journey, whatever your journey is? And how do you accept a new identity? I don't know about you, but I've been this identity for almost 50 years. So how do I shed this overweight identity and become this new identity, right? So when you think about your identity, what are some of the things that you do that you don't do, I guess, that get in your way because you're afraid of becoming somebody other than who you are? What are some of the challenges that you haven't done because you're too overweight or you're afraid you're too overweight to do? When you think about that question, and feel free to post some of those answers in the chat, think about how you identify yourself. What words do you use to describe yourself? What words do you view others? What words do you believe others view you? Because that's a piece of our identity too, is what we think others are going to think of me. When you're at the pool and you're looking at all of these people in their swimsuits and you think, I'm never going to look like that. That's an identity, right? So being able to really take a long, hard look at your identity, and you're holding on to that identity because you're afraid of what it's going to be. You're afraid of what you don't know is going to be. So remember that whole fear of change. Well, changing our identity is a change. And so we're afraid of what those things might look like because it's the unknown. So what are some of those fears that get in your way? Is it fear of failure, fear of the loss of the comfort food, fear of the change, fear of what your friends might say, fear of relationships changing? I have a friend who I'm not really great friends with right now because I started this process, and it was a struggle for her to accept that I wasn't going to eat all the fried fatty foods with her every time we went out to dinner. And we were appetizers and drinks queens. Like that's what we did when we got together. And so when I'm not willing to do that because I am taking this stance, it changed our relationship. And so acknowledging that maybe that's not where I need to be, and that this relationship has to change, and that's okay. So is it the fear of getting noticed? Like all of a sudden you're losing weight and people are like, oh my gosh, you're losing weight, you look so good. And that can go, the flip side of that is all of a sudden people are paying attention to you and, oh my God, that's embarrassing. And people are noticing that I'm losing weight and that's really embarrassing. And so again, identifying what some of those fears are so that you can really push to tackle that from the mindset perspective, from the psychological perspective. And I saw a couple comments. Deb, I compare and then don't stay committed enough to continue. Usually working hard to not do that now. Good job, Deb. Sarah, that's my worst thing, feeling others' judgments and perceived judgments. Yeah, it's a hard one, Sarah. It's so hard to not have this belief that others are judging us. And that the root of that, in my opinion, is that you're judging yourself. And so you think that others are judging you because of that same judgment that you have of yourself. I'm too fat. I can't do this because I can't wear that bikini because I've got stretch marks. I can't do any of these things because. And the reality is that's your judgment of yourself as opposed to what others truly are thinking. And if they are thinking those things, meh, I had a bad word right there. Fuck them is what was going to come out of my mouth, because who are they to judge you? They've got their own baggage. And so really looking at, if you're having those beliefs, then that's your judgment of yourself. And maybe start working on that a little bit, right? So my goal here today is to try to figure out ways for you guys to tackle some of these fears, to really look at your fear of change, and the change being the identity piece of no longer being this person who is overweight, or this person who is I can't think of another word, overweight. And really looking at trying to change that dynamic for yourself, not for anybody else. And so how do you tackle these fears? What do you do? What are some of the things that you guys do right now to try to face those fears, whether it's identity or anything else? What are some of those things that you do? The first thing for me is to figure out what that fear is, right? I need to put a name to it. During my process, it was the identity shift, being able to recognize that I'm not just overweight. I am so much more than the number on my scale. I had a conversation with Liz just this week when the number on the scale didn't move again. I'm talking again and again and again. And her first comment to me was, "Are you upset?" And my immediate response was, "No, I'm not, because I'm much more than this number on the scale. And I have worked so hard to get to that place." Liz will tell you how hard I've worked to get to that place. And it was a lot of identifying what my fears were, identifying the fact that I was stuck in the process of identity, that I was just this fat person, and that wasn't acceptable. So the first thing I would encourage you guys to do is name it. What is your fear? Write it down. Put a name to it so that you can start to say, this doesn't have control over me. This doesn't have the power to drive my bus. I can work on controlling this. All those balls that we're trying to juggle, I can work on controlling this. This is one more thing that I can put in there that I can do. And this is for you, not for anybody else. So write it down, maybe do some free journaling about it. I've got a couple journal prompts I'm going to give you guys here. So if you've got pen and paper handy, now is a good time to start writing down. But just free journal. So if identity is your fear, what about that are you afraid of? What's going to change for you? What's the shift? Explore those fears that I talked about earlier: loss of relationships, embarrassment, attention. Is it those things? Is that what that identity and that fear is about? And if so, just journal it. Just start writing down the first things that start coming to your mind. This was a nightly ritual for me when I was really working on this. Every night before bed, my journal and I would just free flow of conscious thought, write down all of those things that come to me when I think of my health and my journey and being overweight and what I was afraid of, and judgments, other people's judging me, which is judgment of myself. The more you can put those thoughts out of your head, whether it's talking to somebody, whether it's having mindset conversations with your coach, whether it's journaling. The more it's out of your head, the less control it has on you, the less impact it has on your mindset. So really start to focus on getting it out of that brain, because we can perseverate on those things. As women, we're really good at that. So then start small. If that's your mindset, just start journaling about that fear, right? It doesn't have to be major revelations. It's just journaling the thoughts that come into your head. It's just talking about the thoughts that come into your head. Becca talks about setting micro goals. This is a great micro goal. Every night I'm going to journal 3 sentences, 4 sentences, whatever I have to say about this fear, about this identity, about what my concerns are. And set that as your intention. I'm going to journal this every night until I have a better grasp on what this means. And then knowing that talking about it, that journaling about it, that getting it out of your head is a cathartic experience. From a clinical perspective, I am a clinician. We talk about catharsis quite a bit in our work as clinicians, because we need to be able to let things go. If we hang on too long, it's going to fester. It's like a boil in your skin, and it's just going to fester. And we don't want that to fester. And when it festers, it causes stress. And as we all know at this point, stress is cortisol release, which is belly fat, which is all of the bad things that we really don't want to have happen to our body. Okay, so some of the journal prompts that I'm going to give you guys. I just saw myself fester. Start a sentence that says, I am afraid that, and then fill in the blank. What do you come up with? And then keep going with, but even more important, I'm afraid that. And so really taking it into a deeper dive. So I'm afraid that, but even more so, I'm more afraid of, and then fill in the blanks. And just, again, let it flow what comes out, okay? Another one could be free write on the topics. Where does my fear come from? Does it come from your childhood? Does it come from messages that you got growing up? You could free flow about, what does it mean to face your fears? Have you ever faced your fears before? How did you do that? What were the outcomes when you did face your fears? Both positive and negative, because sometimes facing our fears is really great, and sometimes it can bite us in the butt. Ask yourself, what purpose does this fear serve for me? And this is such a huge question, because this is what we hold on to. It serves a purpose. My belief in the mental health world is that behavior has a purpose. There's a reason why we do what we do. And so ask yourself, what is the purpose of this behavior? What do you get out of it? And there is a benefit for you in it. Even though the behavior sucks, there is a benefit for you in it. Otherwise, we wouldn't do it. We're human beings. We do things for gratification. So ask yourself, what purpose does this fear serve for me? And again, just write what you come up with. Doesn't have to be anything major. Just kind of write what first things that come to your brain when you ask yourself these questions. Ask yourself, have you ever been afraid of something before? What was it? Did it have the same impact on you? Different impact? How did you overcome it? Did you overcome it? Right? If you could view your change from a positive perspective, journal that. Yes, I welcome this change because fill in the blank. This change is important for me because fill in the blank. And again, it doesn't have to be one word. It can be multiple sentences, whatever comes out of your brain when you're doing this. And then lastly, if you were to have a conversation with your fear, if you were talking to your fear directly, what would you say to it? What would you say to that fear to try to master it? We talk about mastery in my job quite a bit. How would you master your fear if you were talking to it in a conversation? And again, just kind of journal it. So that's what I have for you guys today about fear of change, fear of identity, the things that come with it. I didn't see any questions come in. I did see Andrea's response. I do really well, but get frustrated when I don't see any results or see the scale going in the wrong direction. And then I get stressed and give up. It's a vicious cycle. Andrea, if I can be of any help in that process for you, please feel free to ask Liz about my journey in this. my scale hasn't moved in quite some time, and I'm talking months and months and months. And the first time I was really upset. Like, it had been several times where I'd been on the scale, and I had some major ass tears and temper tantrums in the gym and lost my shit. And then did a whole lot of this type of work, mindset work, where I just really needed to look at my goal, and my goal wasn't a number on the scale. Like, I had to redefine things for myself. So I get where you're coming from, and I will be happy to help you along in that mindset piece as much as I possibly can. And yes, I will post the prompts in the group itself. It'll take me a minute to try to post them here in the Facebook group. So I'll post them in the Evolve You group, so that everybody can have those, and you can look back at them. Deb, my scale changed nicely in the beginning. Now it's constant, but I feel better. Yeah, sometimes it's, again, redefining that goal. I started this process because I wanted to age gracefully. That's what I told everybody. And I lost sight of that in this process because I was so focused on the scale. And now I'm back to aging gracefully and being healthy. And I'm healthier now than I've ever been in my life. I have the blood work to show it. I have the body to show it. I might still be in my journey, but I can see the physical changes in my body. And so again, it's redefining those goals. And so much of redefining those goals is about the mindset, is about all of this stuff that I just described for you guys, and facing those fears head on and tackling our brains, because this is where it comes from. Our brains are fascinating things. Okay. Thank you guys very much for your time this morning. I know I'll be back at some point with another topic. So happy Monday, and start your journaling.